Hello, everyone, and welcome to the best and worst of Walt Disney World. I'm your host, Rhino Clavin, and this week's episode, we're going to be discussing the best and worst Disney Springs entertainment. And to join me for this discussion, we've got Mr. Charles Boda.
Hello, folks.
Mr. Steve Porter.
Hello.
Mr. Craig Williams.
Hello.
And we are going to do this one just a little bit differently. Rather than ranking them, we're just going to talk about whether we like them or not. So sort of like sucks doesn't suck, but we didn't use the paddles, and I don't want to do that like that for this episode. So we're just saying whether we like it or we don't, because not all of us have experienced these things, but we've got a list of 6 offerings that they have that are unique to Disney Springs. And the first one of those is the Aerophile, the world leader in balloon flight, which Charles has already questioned whether that is true or not. But this, you can do this, for those of you who don't know, this is the giant hot air balloon experience at Disney Springs. The official description is experience adventure, enchantment, and romance like a real-life Disney character while floating through the sky. All it takes is a little faith, trust, and 6 tons of pixie dust. well then. Guests are sure to fall in love with the breathtaking 360-degree view of Walt Disney World Resort during an 8 to 10 minutes tethered helium balloon ride located right in Disney Springs. This attraction will cost $20 for adults, $15 for children, 3 to 9. Have you guys done this, Steve?
I have not done it,
Charles?
I have not, but I'm interested.
So, I have no interest whatsoever. I am terrified of heights, let alone tethering me to a balloon at Disney Springs. So, Craig, why don't you let us know what you think of this?
It's actually pretty good. So, the time I did it, it was with a free ticket given to me by Walt Disney World Media and all that. So, I just did it because why not? I had it, and I was actually surprised. I also don't really care for heights unless I'm in the right situation, like strapped in a roller coaster, or like I could walk the lift at Dragon Challenge when I worked there, but only in like situations where it's like, okay, we're evacing, can't think about the actual heights that are happening with it. For this, I thought I would be terrified because of that, and it ended up not being bad at all. So it felt very secure the entire time. I even went on a slightly windy-ish day, but
that sounds like a nightmare.
It looks like it moves way more than it actually feels like it. It's the wind blows it in smooth waves back and forth, and ultimately the views are pretty good. So it's at Disney Springs, so you have a great view of Disney Springs.
What size
obviously.
was the group that was in there with you?
Oh, sorry. I don't know. I didn't count people.
Did you feel like it was like really full, or were you had your own space?
I think you had your own space for the most part, and with enough room to pass behind people that wanted to just like stand in one place. But ultimately, you get great views of property. So there's some areas you look at and it's like, okay, I don't care about what's over there. Yeah. Everyone wants to see the good stuff, and I think for that it kind of achieves it. And it's one of those things. If you've been to Disney 100 times and you're looking for something different, I think it's actually an affordable way to do something new.
How long are you up there for?
8 to 10 minutes.
8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah,
so.
And plus,
for $20. Yeah,
but I don't know if that includes like the time it actually takes to go up and then back down. It felt like a good bulk of time, though.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's cool. It still sounds like a nightmare to me because I am afraid of that. I asked about the group thing because it is when people are moving around me when I'm high up, I get extra anxious and like not moving. But there you have it. That's one of those things. Then there is the AMPA Cars, so that's water-based. That is at the Boathouse. If you have or have not seen those are essentially the cars from way back when that are able to drive from land into the water. So these are a 20-minute tour. And they are over $100 for 3 people to do for 20 minutes. I don't know that this is worth it. I haven't experienced. Has anyone done this here?
Yeah.
I'm not rich.
You've done it, Craig,
and it's not worth it. So it's not great. Honestly, it's because you already have the boat transportation
that's what I was going to say,
around that lake, so you're not seeing anything. It's the only unique aspect of this is that you are riding in vintage boat vehicle history in that sense. So if you're a big buff on cars or boats or both of them together, yes, absolutely do something like this. Otherwise, you're just paying to be lower to the water, seeing views that you can already see in different places.
That's how I feel about it. Like,
I always thought that it would be cool for picture taking purposes because I take pictures of them as they come by if I'm like eating at the boathouse or anywhere like that. But the thing is, if you want one of those for yourself, you have to have somebody who's not on it in your group, like taking the picture for you. Like there's nothing included in that, right? They don't have any kind of like picture taking photo pass stuff with that.
No, you just get the cool captain riding with you low in the car, riding dirty.
I just much rather would save all that money and spend. I think I just looked it up, like $32 for one of the little sea racers on Seven Seas Lagoon, and have 30 minutes rather than 20, get to drive the boat myself, and it's way cheaper. I feel like that's a win-win-win. Like, I don't understand.
And Craig put it the best way too, is that you're literally driving in a car that you're not getting to drive. Somebody else has to drive it for you, and you are in a spot where you're already traveling because you can just use the free transportation. So something that I have done though is the Void at Disney Springs. Now this is currently themed to Star Wars. It's Star Wars Secrets of the Empire, and there are some characters that appear from some of the anthology films. And coming in the fall, we're going to get a Ralph Breaks the VR version, and then apparently next year there's going to be one based on a Marvel property. But this is an experience that lasts. I couldn't find the exact time, and it differs based on how quickly you solve the mission that you're given. So for Star Wars, you're part of the Rebel, the Rebel Alliance, because it takes place during Rogue One, and so you are. I don't want to talk about what you're doing too much because it does give away a little bit of it. But essentially, it is. I thought this was a really, really cool experience. It lasted for me, I want to say, probably about 20 minutes of the mission. Charles, you did it, and you were saying it was only like 10 minutes. I felt
it was only like 10 minutes, and that was the vibe from the other people with me, was that the actual playtime didn't really feel that long. The thing is, it's always active. There's a story going the entire time, so there's not a lot of downtime. So it probably feels like it goes by quickly as well. But yeah, we all judged it to be around 10 minutes.
I do think it is a really cool and unique experience, and I can speak from somebody who gets really bad motion sickness. I not even for a second during this entire thing did I feel queasy, or did I think like, oh, and it took me zero time to adjust. It is a little weird because there are scenes where like you can do it in groups of 4, and so if you're a group of 2, you're going with 2 people you don't know. They send you through. So when you have all the gear on that you will be wearing, so it is fitted on you, so you do feel like you're wearing something. Or, I mean, you are actually wearing something. It's how they keep track of where you're going.
Yeah.
But I'll look over, and if I went with Charles, I'd be like, okay, there's Charles in his stormtrooper outfit. Like, he moves, I can see his movements. So you are very aware of how everybody is moving because you're actually seeing them. You're just seeing them with a virtual reality like overlay. So he is in a stormtrooper gear, and there are scenes where you walk over like a bridge and you look down, and it feels like it's burning at your feet, and you can smell the ash. And so I think it is a really cool experience. You reach out, you pick stuff up off the wall, and it like, oh, this is a blaster,
I thought it was a great experience, but with just a few tweaks, they could have made it replayable. It's great to do once, but there are less impressive virtual reality experiences in Orlando that I would do more often, partially because of price, but partially because replayability. They don't give you a score or anything, and you get the same story regardless of how you play through. So you can't I was hoping for an alternate ending. There was a point where it looked like I could do something cool, and I was like, I just didn't figure out the way to do it, but I know I can. And so I looked it up.
Yeah.
It's one story for everybody, and you don't, you can be relatively sure that you're going to make it through alive. So they could at least have a score of how many people you blast, how many times you get hit, so you can play against your friends. And it's
I
different
would like to see like how many stormtroopers have you hit, how often. If you like, I got shot in the side one time, and I was like, oh, that was so cool. I want someone to shoot me again. But I will say, this might be exclusive to the Voids on Disney property, because my friend did a Ghostbusters Void experience in New York City, and his group had 2 different outcomes. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man killed some of them, I think, and they obviously you don't want that kind of thing because it's supposed to be a whole family thing. But if you do get lost, or you can't solve one of the puzzles, it will help you along, because I did have a scene with my group of people that we were with that nobody knew there was like another room you're supposed to be in while you're in another room. So it's really. I think it's cool. I would do it more than once just to experience it with other people again, but I do understand what you're saying about it doesn't change that often. It is $30 a person. There is a height requirement too. It's 48 inches or taller. But I'll be interested to see how the other stuff plays out when they start changing it from the storyline. I do wish there was more than one mission, so it could be something you could go to more frequently if you're somebody who loved it.
It's definitely good enough to... The technology is sophisticated and immersive enough to where anything new they put out, I'm going to try.
Yeah.
I just wish that they would add some replayability segment, just to get as much out of it as possible.
Yeah. Well, so that'll lead us to another more classic experience that you can partake at Disney Springs, which is Splitsville Luxury Lanes. This is the bowling, restaurant, bar, all these things. It lives in the home of what used to be the Virgin Megastore, if you remember that way back in the day.
R.I.P.
Yes. I enjoy this place. I think maybe the prices can be a little high, but you're on Disney property. All the food I've had there, I've dined there maybe like 2 or 3 times. Like, I've enjoyed it. I
think it's a good option if you like. I remember where I grew up, all the bowling alley locations were kind of like a little seedy.
Yeah,
for
sure.
And so, having a family-friendly environment, yes, you're paying for more, like you mentioned, but you are getting a better experience than like dollar bowl night at your hometown.
I agree, and I think the food's a little higher quality too. It's that same general type of food stuff, but
like the threat of getting stabbed with a broken bottle is what makes bowling, and I feel that you're missing out on the immersive bowling experience when it's too family friendly.
Well, we do have some that. So Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. It costs $17 a person to bowl, $22 from 4 to close, and then Saturday and Sunday is $22 a person. If you make reservations in advance, you do not get a deal. It is the other way around. So it's 24 hours in advance, and it's $27 a person, $32 from 4 to close, and on Saturday and Sunday. That's probably because, like, I don't know why, but I whatever. So it's for 1 to 2 people, you get an hour to bowl. For 3 to 4, it's 1 hour and 15 minutes. 5 to 6 is an hour and 30. 7 to 8 is an hour and 45 minutes. I still think this is something that's kind of fun, and I like the idea that there is like a bowling alley there. But if you've bowled before, it's standard issue bowling. There's no special Disney twist on it. It's just that the food's a little better, and the drinks are definitely more expensive than they are at your other local one. Well, Craig, how do you feel about luxury lanes? Do you like it or not like it?
It's, if you can afford it, then why not? So I don't personally go there. I've been there a handful of times between eating and bowling, and it's a great bowling alley. But when I usually go with friends, it's to bowl, which doesn't happen often anymore. But when you do, you go to a small, crappy lane somewhere, again in a seedy part of town, where you can bowl for usually about 2 hours for only $10. Mm-hmm. So that's the type of bowling I like. Nothing against this. It's just, it's not worth it for me, price-wise.
Yeah, I think this is definitely, if you're a local to Orlando, you're probably, if somebody is out of town or wants to do a birthday party here, that's when you're going here. But one of the other unique offerings down here, well, not unique to Disney Springs, they exist in the world, we have a House of Blues here, and House of Blues is not just a restaurant. They have concerts that they do here, and I have seen several concerts here. Have you, Steve?
No, I have not.
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah, for the past 15 years, 20 years.
Oh, wow. You've been going a while.
Yeah, well, they've been doing concerts there for a long time. I've seen some great shows there.
Yeah, I actually have too. I saw One Republic there when they were first, their first album was released. It was only $20 for the ticket. I saw Natasha Bedingfield there. I saw the Veronica's there.
Kylie in 2013, I want to say. Right before, or it was right after Ed Sheeran released his first album, but before he was famous, It was the same deal, $20 at House of Blues.
Oh, wow.
Where you could stand right at the stage. And the next time he came through Orlando, I believe it was in the Amway.
It was Amway, yeah.
Like, however many people, 19,000 in there, which that's just nuts to think about.
Well, that's the thing is House of Blues manages to get they get a lot of like rising star performers on their way up, but they also manage to bridge that gap between crazy arena shows and stuff like that, and then your really small local venues kind of thing. Yep. They're comfortable. Security's good. They're relatively, it's spacious and safe and all of that, but you can actually see a good variation of different genres of music, but also different calibers of music and calibers of fame. So I've seen plenty of unknowns there, and I've seen plenty of really notable bands with like 20-year, 30-year histories. So
yeah, I would never plan your trip around seeing someone at House of Blues, but if you end up seeing that they have tickets available for an act that you enjoy, you can't get much better experience because there's only the ground floor to watch on, and then you can go stand up on the balcony and kind of overlook. Yes, it's a standing show unless you can find a spot on the seats or get one of the random chairs that's around. But it's a cool thing to do. I usually see one concert here a year, and I always love it.
Yeah, and like Craig said, it's just a good thing to note that it is it's a much more intimate venue, standing room, unless you're on the upstairs and the sides there. And they do some other cool events that are there as well. So it's not just big name events. They'll do some tribute events. There's a Michael Jackson show that I'm going to be out of town that is actually the day after Christmas that I really wanted to see. But varying prices, check that out. And then finally, we have the AMC Dine-In, the fork and screen. And I enjoy the fork and screen myself.
I hate this.
Oh,
I think
okay.
It is
Really?
the biggest ripoff in terms of seeing a movie at Disney Springs.
Okay, so with that said, so it is reserved seating. It's like I think each row has 4 seats in it. There are 3 rows in it. You go in, you sit down, you have the button, you call the server, they come over with the menu, the idea being you get there a little before the movie, so you have enough time to place your order, and the food's probably coming out around preview time. And let's say you don't even want to dine there, and you just want to go. You can go, and then that way someone can refill your popcorn and give you refills of your soda throughout the movie, or you could just get a large one and do it yourself and go to a regular theater. It's a little bit of a different experience. I think you have to pick and choose wisely what movie you're going to see there, because I like when a movie for me is transportive. It's supposed to take me out of my life and my world and bring me to theirs. And it's hard when you get people that are like, miss. And I'm like, there's a movie and you have a button for a reason, plus you get a lot of loud chewers.
Yeah, well, it's the issue I have is the style of the theaters. It's still old school theater, so it's not stadium seating. Some AMC dine-ins apparently do have that. But no, it's and also because of that, the picture size I feel like isn't as great
smaller
as a lot of other theaters. Yeah. The sound definitely suffers, and again, it's what Rhino already pointed out. It doesn't matter which movie you see in there. At any time, you are going to have that idiot who is constantly yelling at their server the entire movie. Last time I saw a movie there was The Meg, back when that was still in theaters, and it started at 11 p.m. And I swear there was this lady that was just awful, berating the server almost throughout the entire movie till it ended at like 12:45, and I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. First off, you showed up 5 minutes after the trailers already started, and then you decided to start all of this right as the movie was going, and because the sound is lower in there, because you're having that back and forth conversation, you miss anything if anyone around you is speaking in there. And just like movie theaters in general these days, people can't seem to go to a movie without feeling like that's an invitation to have a conversation.
They're the DVD commentary. It happened the other day. They were 2 people, and I can't knock them. They liked movies. They knew stuff about. They were talking about stuff from like The Breakfast Club and being like, "Oh yeah, what did Ali Sheedy have in The Breakfast Club for thing?" And like sushi, and I'm like, what a weird thing for you to know right now. But then, like, watching the movie, and they're like, oh, look out. Oh, he's back. Oh, they're going to do this and that. And I'm like, I'm going to put a bag over your head and make the body disappear if you don't stop talking.
I'll be the contrarian and say that I have had some of these experiences where there's obnoxious people in there, but I also have had times when people are respectful and it is a smaller
rarity.
theater. Well, it is a smaller theater and there's less seats in there, so if it goes wrong, it goes really wrong because you're in there. 2 people can make it a disaster.
Exactly.
But if you don't have, there's also a higher chance of not having those crazy people, because one person with a really bright cell phone in a giant theater can ruin it if your eye just catches it.
Yeah.
But if in a smaller theater, there's less of a chance of that one person.
Okay, I see what you're doing. You're doing a statistic game here, but I'm with Craig. My thing is, like, you pick and choose the movie. So, like, you're going to go see the Minions movie. You know what I mean? You're going to get people, there's going to be kids. There's going to be, like, the mom who's got to tell the kid to be, like, quiet. Like, so it's kind of like, I'm very choosy with the movie that'll go there. I do this more as a special thing. Like my mom, particularly, like, she'll like to do it. She feels extra fancy when people will bring you stuff in a movie, and so if my mom wants to feel fancy, I'm going to make my mom feel fancy. Yeah. So, but that's our list here. Well, I didn't give you prices. It is a little bit higher than the regular theater, but it seems like it's come down a little more to match the regular ticket prices. So it's $12.69 plus tax for a matinee, and then $14.19 plus tax for a regular standard evening ticket for this experience.
You also pay
all
the
of the
food, which is all overpriced. And don't waste your time. Go see the Dolby Theater. It's an amazing theater in there.
There is something I will say, because I agree, especially in the picture quality. I agree with everything you guys have said. But if you're somebody who really doesn't like traditional standard movie theater food, like, I like a good hot dog, but a $20 hot dog, not so much. But popcorn, not my thing. Candy. So having the option to order food that's like, hey, it's a mac and cheese bowl with, like, shiitake mushrooms and stuff. That's kind of cool, that element. And I've seen it done worse other places. But yeah, it's still overpriced. But when my mindset is overpriced movie experience, which is kind of how it is now because movies are like that, the picture quality remains the big turnoff. But the food wise, I mean, it's nice to be able to get something different.
Now, see, movies are for popcorn and candy. Any of the idiots who go and order the nachos, and I'm looking at Eli on this one.
I never will eat the nacho. When he's like, do you want nachos? And I'm like, when in 10 years of knowing you have I ever eaten nachos in a movie theater?
It's why I don't like going to the movies with you and Eli, and I'll just say it publicly. He doesn't
Eli
watch
grabs
anyways.
at the screen. He does this. And I'm like, if you don't put your arm down, I'm going to break it. And that is your livelihood because you're an interpreter.
Even non-3D movies?
Oh, he hates 3D movies, though. So
if you want to eat a meal and see a movie, split them up. Go have a meal, see the movie, or vice versa. It's easy. You don't have to combine them.
So I think
I just have my girlfriend fill her purse with peel and eat shrimp. Then I just do that the entire movie.
I think that Steve and I enjoy this more than Greg and Charles, but I will give this.
I've had good experiences.
This is I will say I've had both good and bad. It is a much higher risk because it is much more expensive than the average theater and stuff like that. So you really are rolling the dice. Please be respectful of the people around you and don't be an ignorant moviegoer. But with that said, I think they have a good diverse menu in there, and I actually do enjoy the food in there. But so there you have it. Those are our opinions on the AMC Dine-In, House of Blues, Splitsville Luxury Lanes, The Voids, AMPA Cars at the Boathouse, and the Aerophile, the world leader in balloon flight at Disney Springs. You can let us know what you thought. Leave some comments on this video. Reach out to us on Twitter for future ideas of episodes at The Diz, not the .diz. That's Instagram. I made a mistake last time. So at The Diz. And thank you, gentlemen, for having this discussion with me. And
You're
then,
welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, we never respond to that.
Yeah, you don't.
You're welcome, Rhino.
Yeah.
I appreciate all your thank yous.
Well, thank you. Well, anyway, that'll do it for this episode of The Best and Worst of Walt Disney World. We will see you next time with another one.